party started.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files on the Rock Fantasy YouTube channel. I'm your host, Stephen Keeler. I'm the owner of the long-running record and smoke shop and pinball emporium here in Middletown, New York, and I'm coming to you from the Rock Fantasy Studios. Tonight, we're going to go back to 1974. We're putting the time machine back 50 years to discuss two iconic albums by the band Kiss. Of course, the self-titled album, which was released February 18th. That album peaked at number 87 on the Billboard Top 200 and went on to be certified gold in the U.S. The second studio album is the other one we're going to talk. It's going to be an all-Kiss battle tonight. We're going to talk about the album Hotter Than Hell, also released October 22nd in 74. That peaked at number 100 on the Billboard charts and was certified gold also in the United States. And that's pretty much what we're going to talk about tonight. It's the Battle of Kiss. I mean, a couple of us, including me, I got to see their final show back in December at Madison Square Garden. And I know Luke was there. But I'm going to introduce our guests tonight right now. We've got someone new to the channel. We got Robert Tuttle. He plays bass in Hudson Valley area band Lady Evil, which does a great Black Sabbath, Ronnie James Dio vocals, Ozzy Osbourne. They mix it all up from the Sabbath camp. And he also plays bass in the Greg Woods project, among a Greg Woods band, among many other bands. And we'll talk to him a little bit. We got Ove Rendum, of course, one of our regulars, staying up all night long in Norway. He said they're having a hurricane in Norway tonight, which I didn't know you could have hurricanes in the dead of winter. But anyhow, we got Kristian Maiorino, which I can never pronounce his last name. It's Maiorino. I'm closer than this time or no? I'm awful.
Close, a little bit closer.
From Connecticut. We've got Tony Dio from North Carolina. We got Mr. Pete Pardo from the Sea of Tranquility. An honor to have him on the show. He's popping over to this channel with his buddy Count Ralphus, our local metal historian, because we got Steve Levin here. We've got Luke Love from the band Psycho Circus, New York area Kiss tribute. It's going to be playing at Quinn's Pins coming up in April. And actually, Robert is playing there on March 22nd with Lady Evil. We got Craig Kaminski, who we stole from Pete's Channel 2. We got Denny Sasquatch Barth from the Mighty Aggression, Canadian thrash metal legends. And we've got Tom from Into the Void down in the corner, the drummer from Into the Void, the Black Sabbath tribute. And they just played Saturday night and they had a packed house, and you guys were sounding better than ever. So
thanks, Steve. We had a great time, man.
Yep, and you will be back, of course. We're working on another date as we're talking tonight. So
yes,
we're gonna go around to each guest tonight. We're gonna go around once, and we're just gonna have you pick which album you like better from these two Kiss albums. Of course, talk a little bit why you like them or what you don't like about them. I think we're gonna start off tonight with Ove.
Again? All right.
Well, I'm giving you first. We don't want you to be the first guy all the time, but I got to go with Denny soon because Denny has to leave. You're probably playing hockey, right, tonight, Denny?
No, my son has a game tonight.
Oh, okay.
Well, my favorite album of these is Hotter Than Hell. Hotter Than Hell was my first album I got of Kiss. I got it on cassette when I was, I don't know, 10 or 11. It was purely on the artwork that, oh wow, this is cool. I gotta have this.
Yeah.
So, and that album has, for me, it has the right sound. It has that dirty sound. It's not clean. It's dirty rock and roll sound. That's why I like it more than the first album.
Yeah.
As for the first album, I really like that too. And some of my favorite songs, I really like that Love Team from Kiss. I really like the bass Gene does on that Love Team.
Okay.
I like Nothing to Lose. I think that's a good one too. And of course, my favorite from that album is Deuce.
All right.
And Hotter Than Hell is how should I say it? I have grown up with it, so it's in my DNA, I should say. and my favorite songs there is Going Blind and All the Way, and my favorite is Watching You.
All right.
Somebody
So-
can tell I'm a big Simmons fan.
Yeah. So Kiss was popular even over in Norway, obviously, and you got a good story to tell. So Hotter Than Hell is your vote for the night for your number one.
Yep.
All right. So we got one vote for Hotter Than Hell. I'm gonna go to the person we've been making go last for weeks right now, and he has to leave soon to go to a hockey game. Of course, he's in Canada. So we're going to talk to Danny Barth right now. And I'm going to do the scorekeeping for a change. We're switching everything up tonight.
Nice. I make sure you do a good job because you have. I do
This
admire.
is the easiest one. At least it's not 4 albums tonight.
Yeah, or
I'll
5
send you
or
some money,
6.
Steve.
All right. So definitely for me, my favorite of the two is Hotter Than Hell. And I'll explain why. Because see, when I was a kid, I bought Kiss Alive first, and I think Kiss Alive kind of completely destroyed the first album for me because every song from the first album on Kiss Alive sounds heavier, more dangerous, more edgy, better.
After
So when I was listening back to the first Kiss album, and I was kind of turned off by Kiss in Time and Love Team from Kiss. Like it didn't have like the I guess the heaviness I was looking for when I was young and you know like um looking back now, listening to it a little bit more mature and smart, definitely that you can appreciate the soloing of Ace Frehley and the mastery of how his guitar playing was really like I don't know we all heard the story how they met the interview the ad in the paper and how they went to the audition with 2 different shoes and whatever. But I can only imagine these guys seeing this guy coming in looking like from like a guy from another planet, completely like blowing them away with his guitar playing. And you can tell on this album, like on the Kiss album, like Ace Frehley's guitar playing is on fire. Like it's so tasty, and it's not super complex and fast or anything like that, but every note is done with like the right amount of feel and pull and the pulling of the strings and it's quite amazing. But I and my I love so many good songs like Strutter, Nothing to Lose, love Peter Chris's voice on there, Deuce, but it doesn't capture the same as on Kiss Alive, Black Diamond, not like it's all like classics that like can't even. It's almost like pointless to talk about the impact of these songs on all of us. It's just so much, but like because like by default and because like I listen to obscure stuff and I like heavy stuff, like Other Than Now for me, always been like my favorite Kiss record for multiple reasons. The back cover itself, the naked chicks, the weird painting of the face, and it's almost they went from like being like, whoa, what is this? Like these guys look like Japanese character to like, no, we're scary, we're like dangerous. This is Kiss, and we're Hotter Than Hell. And when you listen to Hotter Than Hell by itself, like a lot of songs that on there like are not really often talked about, but like I love Going Blind. It's so creepy. It's not even funny. Like if you listen to the lyrics,
yeah,
that's an album I had like in 8 tracks, in cassette, in CD, in vinyl, in digital format, in future format. I probably paid like for like Shannon Tweed best breast augmentation at this point on how much money I spent on but yeah, like definitely like Other Than Now, it's really sound dirty. And if you listen to riff like Parasite or Other Than Now, the main riff right before the solo, it's so heavy. It's really heavy, and the sound, how they went from like being like sounding so like clean and really like straight to like it's like they all went to the store, bought a bunch of distortion pedal and put like 6 in a row. It sounds so much dirtier. But my highlight for me of this entire like Other Than Hell album, and it's always gonna be something that like I'm always like thinking about it, probably more than I should, is the guitar solo of Ace Frehley in Strange Ways. Like, what the hell is going on there, man? Did you just like didn't eat for 4 days and then got somebody piss in your cornflake, and then after that you just heard a solo? It's heavy as fuck, and like it's very unusual guitar solo for Ace Frehley, and it sounds beautiful. And Strange Ways, the entire song, it's just amazingly good. So that's it for me. Other Than Hell wins, but Kiss Alive completely ruined the first record for me, because all these songs I found like sound like more powerful and better on Kiss Alive, but all classic. Like, I mean, it's, it could go either way, but Other Than Hell, because it's more obscure, it is my vote for tonight.
Thank you, Denny. And I gave you off scorekeeping tonight, so
woohoo!
It's gonna be fun. Next week, I'm gonna need you back, because I think next week we're gonna.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna need a spreadsheet and a calculator.
We're gonna tackle your EP battle maybe next week. I don't know. We got to figure this out. We're all trying to do some cool episodes, but anyhow, we'll be back next week somehow.
Right, dude.
So thank you, Denny, for your input. I'm gonna go down to North Carolina and see Tony Dio next, and Tony Dio has a surprise guest. It's gonna show up sometime during the show tonight, and his name is Reaper. So I'm hoping he can make.
Yeah, I'll see if I can go in and coax him to come in. We'll see.
And see what picks Reaper has for tonight.
He don't care.
He don't care.
He likes Grim Reaper. Yeah.
There we go.
This is another tough battle here. I mean, these are both really cool records. I mean, I came into Kiss in the mid 70s. My first Kiss record was Rock and Roll Over. And I just became a Kiss fan then. And I don't think I got Kiss and Hotter Than Hell. I actually didn't even own them until it's probably like around about 1980 or so before I ever got them. I remember a friend though that one of my friends in like grade school, grammar school, or whatever, elementary school, he had like everything, so he was always playing them, and he'd make me some compilations, cassettes and stuff. But I mean, the debut album's got so many classic songs, and it's kind of like Sasquatch said, the live versions are just so much superior to the studio versions. But the studio versions have that charm about them. The tone, and this album, both albums have a certain tone because they were produced by the same guys, Kenny Kerner and Richie Wise. So they have that tone about them. And if you guys are familiar with a lot of the Kiss history, they did their original demos with Eddie Kramer, which I have a bootleg CD, and those songs were Deuce, Strutter, Cold Gin, Watching You, and Black Diamond. And to me, they have more edge to them. They're just heavier than what ended up on these two albums. And you hear the demo quality. I got a feeling there'll be a 50th anniversary box set of some kind coming out this year from the band, and they'll officially release those early demos. But going to each album, I mean, the debut album, I love Black Diamond. That's one of my favorite Kiss songs. I love Deuce. I love Cold Gin. So many great ones on this one. This is actually a first pressing here, and it's got the blue label, the blue Casablanca label, and it doesn't have Kissing Time. Kissing Time was added on later on other pressings. And Hotter Than Hell. I mean, my favorites on this one, definitely Strange Ways is gonna be my number one. It's like Denny said, that guitar solo is just out of this world. I mean, no pun intended, it's Ace Frehley, but yeah, it's great. I love Coming Home, love Going Blind. I mean, that's like the first, like, I guess, real Kiss power ballad, and I just thought that was so cool. And when they did the MTV Unplugged years later, Going Blind and Coming Home came off so great, hearing them in the Unplugged form. But yeah, I just remember being a kid and going in the record store and seeing this, and the back cover was just mesmerizing, and but I think between the two, Hotter Than Hell is going to be my pick. It's a heavier album, even though the first album has a lot of classics on it. The second one is it's just got more it's got more balls to it. It's just a heavier record. I was also going to show I've got an original Kiss 8-track,
Nice.
the first album. Of course, this one doesn't have Kissin' Time on it as well. Got a couple of cassettes that I held on to. I think it was around 84 or so, Polygram Records, that when they had acquired all the Casablanca catalog, they did reissues, and the cassette version of the first Kiss album, Nothing to Lose, is taken from a live one. It's a live version of it.
Wow.
That's the way it is on the cassette. I've heard the album version was like that as well, the reissued album. I don't own one of those. And just a piece of trivia, Kenny Kerner and Richie Wise, the producers, some of you may know, Richie, they produced an album, and Richie Wise was actually the guitar player in this band called Dust. They're kind of a proto metal band, kind of just, you know, heavy 70s hard rock. And Richie was on guitar, and Kenny Aronson, who's played bass in everybody from Billy Squier to Sammy Hagar, all kinds of bands over the years. He's the bassist, but the drummer is Mark Bell, Marky Ramone. So yeah, I thought I'd throw that in as a piece of trivia, since that was the producers of the album. But yeah, so Hotter Than Hell is going to be my pick.
Cool. All right, thank you for that, Tony Dio. So we got another Hotter Than Hell's on a roll here tonight. We got three of them in a row. So we're gonna go next to our good friend from the Sea of Tranquility. I'm sure he's got hundreds of people tuning in to watch him tonight. Pete Pardo, good to see you.
Good to see you, Steve. How's everybody doing?
Good to have you back on. It's been a while.
Hey, man.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, you know, I couldn't pass up talking about Kiss because it's the first real heavy band I ever got into, and first album I ever bought. I bought Destroyer when it first came out. So what was that? 76, 77?
Yeah.
And shortly after got Kiss Alive. So my first exposure to most of these songs was on that live album. And as a couple of you have already said, the songs from the first album are great. They're legendary, but they're way better on the live album. And I remember after I got those first two, I went and bought the originals. I don't know if you guys remember the Kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is basically the first three albums. So I went and bought that. And then I got Rock and Roll Over shortly thereafter, and Love Gun, and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, you know, this is great. The songs are classic. The hits are great. The deep cuts are not as good as the deep cuts on the other album.
Exactly.
And I like the versions of these better on live. Now, to me, this album has some great classics on them that still sound raw and rocking and heavy. You know, a lot of people over the years complain about the murkiness of the production, and I don't care. I think it sounds great. I've gotten used to the way this album sounds, and I love it for it. It's kind of the same thing with like Black Sabbath's Born Again. A lot of people complain, oh my God, it's produced horribly. It's dark and murky and muddy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't care. I dig it anyway, regardless. So I feel the same way about this album. I just think that this album has the best deep cuts of any Kiss album from this time period. And yeah, the hits are amazing, but man, All the Way is great. Watching You is one of my favorite Kiss songs of all time. That's so dark.
Yes.
Strange Ways is amazing. Amazing song. We could talk all day about the guitar solo. It's so cool. Coming Home is great. Mainline is lots of fun.
Nice.
And I mean, Jesus, Going Blind is great. You know, I think the only song on this album that I really don't care all that much about, Let Me Go Rock and Roll is fun, but it's not one of my favorites. But the rest of it is just great. Got to Choose, so good. Peter Criss, unsung vocalist in this band. And I'm telling you, Gene in his heyday was a great heavy metal singer. And I always hate when he started losing his voice and he started to kind of move away from that, you know, I'm the God of Thunder guy, because that's what he always was for me. And it's like whenever Gene sang, you know, that song was going to be heavy and menacing. But yeah, to me, there's no contest here. Even though these are my two favorite Kiss albums of all time,
Wow.
there's a gulf between the two of them for me. This one sits way up, above, and then this, and then, you know, Rock and Roll Over and all the other good ones. But yeah, Hotter Than Hell for me. No doubt.
Dudes, come here.
Another vote for Hotter Than Hell tonight. We're having a landslide so far here. We'll see if anyone else can do anything different. Who do I have up next here? as I look around, I think I'm going to invite one of the newbies tonight, and we're going to talk to Robert Tuttle. Robert Tuttle from Lady Evil. We kind of introduced him a little bit. And how you doing tonight, Rob? Good to have you on Rock Fantasy Files for the first time.
I am doing great. I couldn't wait to get here.
Cool.
Okay, so I had both of these albums on 8-track that came with the matchbook to hold underneath it, keep it on track. And with the first album was Strutter, Nothing to Lose, Firehouse, Cold Gin. I mean, you really can't, and there's no misses there. But on Hotter Than Hell, Strange Ways and Parasite, that's like I don't know. Those are like my favorite Kiss songs. So when you shake everything out, I got to go with Hotter Than Hell. I mean, when I thought of this morning and I was thinking about the difference between the two, I was like, this is the first Kiss album. It's got to be the two. And I threw them on in my mail truck this afternoon, and I'm like, nah, I can't say that, man. I mean, I think we can all agree that all these songs shake out better on a live than on the actual studio recordings. But I think maybe overall the first album has maybe a little higher number of better songs, but Hotter Than Hell has songs that peak higher. They're just, I mean, for me, Parasite, when I sit here at night sometimes watching TV and I pick up my guitar, I usually start jamming out a little Parasite, and Let Me Go Rock and Roll. I know it's not the biggest Kiss song, but at the end of Alive, I kind of like that song a lot, and I like the way they bounce back and forth between each other, and Watching You, and the song Hotter Than Hell, and I think somebody said that like Going Blind was kind of creepy, and yeah, it's kind of cool creepy. It's got that dark, almost like an Alice Cooper ballad quality happening to it, and I got to go with Hotter Than Hell. I mean, I like to buck the system and throw something to the original album, but I really can't. That's my pick, and I'm sticking to it.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So thanks for your input, Robert, and we're going to move over to our special guest tonight. I guess I'm going to call. His name is Luke Love, and he plays Paul Stanley and currently in Psycho Circus, New York City area Kiss tribute, and he can tell you a little bit about more himself. Welcome to the show, Luke. Another newbie to the Rock Fantasy Files tonight.
It's great to be here with all these Kiss fans and Kiss lovers. We're all just one happy family. Here's my take on it. It's like, it's hard to pick. If you have two kids, two daughters, two sons, a son and a daughter, who do you like more? It's really hard. I have to go and break the mold. I have to go with Kiss number one.
Okay.
Even though I love Hotter Than Hell. We play a lot of songs on Hotter Than Hell. We play Hotter Than Hell. We play Watching You. We play Let Me Go Rock. We play a lot of songs off of Hotter Than Hell. But for me, I'll never forget as a kid being in my friend's house, and he goes, "Hey, have you ever heard of these guys? You ever see them?" And he handed me the first Kiss album. That was my introduction. And my first thing I said to him, I said, "Who are these fucking clowns?" That's what I said. He goes, "Really?" He goes, "Really?" He put on Strutter. After he put on Strutter as the first song, I go, "Give me that fucking album back." And I started studying every inch of the album. And I ran out and bought that album the same day and never looked back. So for me, it has a special feeling. I have to go with number one because that was my introduction. I have to go with number one because even though I played Paul in a Kiss tribute band, I have to say one of my favorite songs because of so much, because it was their opening song for so long, because of the choreography, because of the way Gene attacks it. But Deuce fucking kicked my ass back and forth across the stage, up and down. When I saw them do the choreography with Ace and all of them, and they're going, I was just like, what the fuck am I watching here? I just couldn't, I was just blown. I'm still blown away when I look at the old shit. And Strutter and Black Diamond with Peter's fucking drums, you know, going up in the air, and just, you know, them Ace is on his knees and they're going over. I mean, shit, I just, whatever. But then I go to Hotter Than Hell. And oh my God, Got to Choose. We play Got to Choose. We play Hotter Than Hell. We play what it to me is just a phenomenal album, Hotter Than Hell. I guess the only reason why I'm going to pick Kiss #1 is because that was my introduction, and it made such an impact on me straight out of the gate. And when I saw them do Deuce live for the first time, I was falling all over myself. I was like, what a beautiful cat. I was like, beautiful cat. Is that your cat, Tommy?
He's my stand-in.
Oh, beautiful, bro. Beautiful. I have one myself.
Is that Peter? Is that the cat? Is that the cat man? Is that Peter Chris? Tommy had to make his point there, my friend. Yeah.
Almost got Peter Chris's makeup.
You know, by the way, you guys were great the other night, Tommy.
Oh, hey, thanks for coming out, man. It was great to see you.
Hey, here he comes, Steve.
Oh, here, wait a second. So there's Reaper. Reaper's made its first appearance.
And Linda put his patch vest on.
Oh, look at that.
I love him too.
So
what a cute little
we're way off subject of Kiss, but Reaper's on a contest that I saw on Facebook today on social media. And what is Reaper trying to win?
It's I think, is it $10,000, Lisa? Linda? Is it $10,000?
Yeah, and the cover of Modern Dog magazine.
And the cover of Modern Dog magazine from America's favorite pet.
Go Reaper. How do we vote for Reaper?
If you go to my page on Facebook, you can see it. There's a link. It's a Facebook link. You can see it on my page. We can share it on the bottom after the show. We'll put it up.
Yeah, I'll put it in the liner notes on the.
It's real easy. I did it today. It takes 2 seconds. He's
good.
In 4th place, and we got it. Rock Fantasy Files got to bring him to #1.
That's the first dog I've ever seen in a battle jacket, and it looks like what kind of patches, Reaper? What kind of patches do you got in the back there? What are some of your favorite bands?
He's got Venom, Municipal Waste, Dio, Merciful Fate, and Motorhead.
Nice.
He's got to have a Kiss patch on there somewhere.
He's got a Kiss button. He's got a bunch of buttons on here, so he's got a Kiss button. Yeah.
All right, Reaper. It's nice to have Reaper on the show. Go out and vote for Reaper. Get him on the cover of that magazine. He can hang out if he wants.
Leave the info.
He's going to hang out for a few minutes.
For sure. So he's going to hang out. So Luke, continue on. I guess you picked the first album. Do you have any more you'd like to add?
Well, you know, I've jammed with Ace twice. I met Ace for the first time at Factory Sound. There was a studio in Yonkers, New York, behind the Delwood Milk Factory. It was owned by 2 brothers, Dean and Carl Tallarico. And they would always talk to my band. They had hourly rentals, and they had monthly rentals, and my band had a monthly rental there. I wasn't in a Kiss tribute band at that time. I was just, you know, learning to play and you know, just trying to do anything I could do. And these 2 brothers, Dean and Carl looked just like Frank Zappa, but with long straight hair. Okay. They would always talk about Ace, and Ace. And we would always be like, yeah, sure, yeah, you know him, right? That's what we would say, thinking they didn't know him. So, and Carl one day was saying he was very upset, and he was upset because he said that he's the one that came up with all the riffs on Ace's solo album, that it wasn't Anton Fig, it was him. And we're like, yeah. And he goes, By the way, Ace did allow me to play on one of his songs. We're like, yeah, what song is that? He goes, Fractured Mirror. Look at the album, look on the back, you'll see my name there. So of course we went and checked it out, and his name was there. But we were in the studio, and Carl was a good drummer, and he started playing all the riffs. Now I don't know, because as we all know as Kiss fan, Anton Fig is a monster, you know, killer drummer, did such great work with Kiss. But I mean, I don't know how true that is or isn't. I just know that that's what he told us. But he was on the Kiss album. And then one day we were in our studio, and Ace opens up our door. I mean, we didn't know who was opening up at first, but we were all shell shocked. Ace opened up our door, walks in with a brunette and a blonde that worked at the Galleria in White Plains, because I used to get my hair cut there, and walks in with them. He's exactly what you expect. He's fucking wasted, having a good time, grabs one of the guitars, just starts fucking jamming. We're kind of like, our drawers are on the ground, you know, we don't know what, and then we just start screwing around. And as he came in like that, he left like that, like no autographs, no nothing. Came in with the girls, left, and we were just sort of like looking at each other like, what the hell just happened? And then I met him again through if any of you guys know Eddie Solon. Eddie Solon was if you look at the first Kiss album, on the back of it, it says, thanks to the magnificent Eddie Solon. Ace did, excuse me, Eddie did all of Kiss's a lot of their original demos. And he used to own a studio on White Plains Road in the Bronx. It was called Backstreet Studios. And from there on, he went up to North Lake. He was working with Chip Taylor, John Voight's brother, here at North Lake Studios in North Lake, White Plains. And we met Ace up there and back, and he would tell us all these crazy stories, because I was looking at this, like, you know, back then it was all analog, all that, you know, we were kids, all analog. It wasn't digital stuff there. And there was a rack of, you know, tapes, and they had all these Kiss names. And I'm like, Eddie, what's that? He goes, oh, those are the demos I did for Kiss. And Hotter Than Hell, here's something you guys might be interested in knowing, wasn't originally called Hotter Than Hell. It was called Louder Than Hell. That was the original name to the song. And they changed it. And as a matter of fact, who also worked in there was he had Blackie Lawless's Blackie's band. Before they changed the name to Wasp, he was in a band at one time called Circus. And they all stood on, you know, those things the elephants and tigers and lions stand on at a circus?
Yeah.
They were all taking promo shots on things like that, and they were called Circus. And I was like, but at that time, I really didn't know who he was. I just was, you know, checking it out. But yeah, I met him a few times through Eddie, and, you know, and we actually saw his, we were down at SIR when Ace actually broke out Frehley's Comet. And some of the Ramones were there. The guy from the Plasmatics, Richie Stotts, the guitarist, was there. A lot of people were there. And Eddie, because I had become a good friend with him, invited me, and I took my brother to the showcase at Ace's first showcase at SIR, which was pretty amazing. They were great. And yeah, and he did have Skinny, well, they call him Skinny, John Regan. I'm sure you guys all know John. Rest in peace. Such a nice guy. And he had Anton, and he had Derek. I forgot Derek's last name. Derek was part owner of Barking Dog Studios in Brewster, New York. As a matter of fact, we're doing some work there right now, speaking of that. But I don't want to hog up all the time, because there's so many people to talk, but I've got a million stories that are
maybe when we wrap things up at the end, we'll bring you back on, and we'll hear a story or two. So cool. Also, I got one question for you before we hop on to somebody else. How long have you been doing the Paul Stanley character live with different Kiss tribute bands?
I've been doing Paul. I did it for 13 years in Kiss Alive NYC. I did it for 1 year in Kisstory, and then I left that, and me and the Ace from Kiss Alive started Psycho Circus, and we've been doing that for, it's not a year yet, it's a couple months, you know, since the gentleman saw us at the Chance. That was like our second show. And you know, since then so it hasn't been a year yet. But hey, listen, if you're a Kiss fan, who doesn't like Halloween, right? We get to fucking dress up like it's Halloween all the time and play, play music from a band that we all grew up enjoying, and we have a lot of other interests and a lot of other bands we love, but Kiss happens to be one of them, and it's a great thing. It's a good thing.
And you got a gig coming up with me on April 20th of all dates, 420 Record Store Day, and whatever else the holiday's all about at Quinn Spins, and we're looking forward to that.
And Garcia's in at the Capitol has called us to play, and we're supposed to play at Daryl's place, and we're also playing. We're booked at the Belmore Theater in Belmore, Long Island. So actually, they call it the Belmore Playhouse. Then we're doing another theater in in Connecticut. So
that sounds great.
Let's held us up is our Gene had just had back surgery like the 5th of January. So he's not clear to work until like our first show will be at the Belmore. But it's all good.
Cool. Well, thanks for your time tonight, and we'll come back at the very end and we'll hear another story. So
well, it's a pleasure to talk and listen to all these other Kiss fans. I love hearing what these guys have to say as well. That they're interesting.
Of course. So we got Mr. Craig Kaminski coming from the Pennsylvania, and he's all dressed up tonight for the Rock Fantasy Files. The first guy to ever wear a tie, I think.
I only dress up for you, Steve. So
thank you.
It's like I've had this tie for over 20 years, and when I used to have a job that was required to wear a tie. Of course, I wore this to work, much to the chagrin of my staff, but fuck them. So I love to show off my Kiss stuff if I can. Yeah. I've been a fan for many years. My first Kiss album was Animalize, actually, and or cassette. I bought cassettes back then, and a few years later in the mall, I think it was in like a listening booth or the wall or wall to wall, I guess it was called at the time. They used to have all the cheaper cassettes and everything up front, stacked up, and that's where I ended up buying all my Kiss cassettes at the time. And I bought the studio ones actually first because Alive was pretty expensive compared to the studio albums at the time. So I actually heard these before hearing the albeit superior versions of Alive, because I always thought my car would chew up the Alive cassette because that thing was so thick and it was like a hernia, like because Alive 2 was a double cassette, so my system or anything wouldn't have a struggle with that, but I was always afraid to put Alive in the car, that it would just chew it up. But back to the first two here. So I'm gonna have to also agree and go with Hotter Than Hell as my pick between these two. Yeah, the debuts got the more, you want to say familiar songs. And really, when you think about it, a whole chunk of this album, they played this throughout their whole 50-year career. I mean, that's really something when you could take 5 or 6 songs from that debut and you're still playing them so many years later and fans love them. But agreeing with what Pete had said, I believe the deeper tracks, in my opinion, on Hotter Than Hell are so much fun, with All the Way, that where the cowbell's coming from in that, just like thrown in there. Main line is great with Peter's vocals, and he is really a underutilized weapon in Kiss's bullet belt. Just his voice was really just something else, enjoyable to hear. My favorite song probably on Harder Than Hell, and it's coming in I've appreciated it more, I think, over the years, is Watching You. It's just it is a creepy, evil type song, especially when you hear those, when you really think about the lyrics and everything, where it's like everybody else is here watching us, and it's like it makes you think almost like you're in like a horror movie, like a Body Snatchers type thing, where everybody's converging in on them. It's creepy, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. I don't know if I don't know if they played Strange Ways too much live or anything, but one cool thing, at least maybe some of you guys saw that same tour too. In '95, when Ace and Peter did their tour together, they would play Strange Ways together as an encore with
Awesome.
Peter singing and with Ace playing. They would do at least a handful of songs together. Peter played first, or at least at the show that I saw, he would do his set, and he played a handful of Kiss songs, whereas Ace played mostly Kiss songs with a few of his solo songs kind of peppered in. But it was cool to see them play a few of the classics together, that they could either trade vocals or just to actually see Peter singing the songs and Ace playing with him. Since this was in '95, it was before the big reunion of the summer of '96. So yeah, my pick, I go with Hotter Than Hell, and just a great album. Yeah, there's a little bit of the murkiness. I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier, and he said, I like the debut because the second album sounds like it was recorded underwater. And I was like, the remaster kind of clears that up a little bit. I think it sounds perfectly acceptable. Yeah, some of the songs sound like they're in slow motion compared to how they are on Alive, like Got to Choose and Hotter Than Hell, but they still have their charm, and I still enjoy hearing them. So yeah,
Cool.
Between these two, I choose Hotter Than Hell.
Another vote for Hotter Than Hell. Thanks, Craig, for giving your time to the channel tonight. We're going to move over back to Middletown, New York, to my good friend Stephen Levin, and get his point of view here tonight. Steve, good to see you.
Nice to see everybody. Thank you for having me. As always, great to be here. I love revisiting these old albums. A lot of times I don't listen to the stuff. I'm too busy listening to slam metal and deathcore and my favorite shit. And, visiting these albums, it reminds me of what I really love. And it, reminds me of my roots and where I came from. So let's start with Hotter Than Hell. Hotter Than Hell, 5 songs from Kiss Alive. And I had Kiss Alive 1 before I had Hotter Than Hell, or the first Kiss. So obviously the songs are much stronger, as everybody alluded to. But Hotter Than Hell, for me, I didn't like as much as the first one. It has Let Me Go Rock and Roll. That's Ace Frehley to me. Such a great soloist. He's one of the main reasons that I play guitar. Parasite, that's got to be the heaviest Kiss riff of all time for the original lineup. I don't think that there's anything that really compares to that. Maybe God of Thunder, but as far as it's almost like a thrash riff before there's even thrash. It's just such a great song. Got to Choose. I love that song. It has that bass that starts out, and I swear when I listen to that, it just reminds me of what Michael Anthony does for Van Halen. It has that very heavy, that bass, and it kind of drives the song through. And I feel like, that's where maybe you see a little bit of the Michael Anthony, where he got some influence from Gene right there. But Hotter Than Hell. Oh, and I have to mention that Strange Ways solo, because that is just, it's just ridiculous. And the thing, what Ace does on that after listening to it, so he sets his flanger really high. So the rhythm, it's oscillating actually faster than what the song is going. So instead of what the flanger will do is actually mix in with the song, it'll make it like a nice sweeping pattern. He sets it, or the producer, whoever did it, the engineer, set it so that it's so high that it's almost working against the song. And it just creates this just cacophony of sound that's just amazing. Super, super heavy lead, and just really pretty extreme for the time. I don't think there were many bands doing stuff that was this heavy. And the thing that made Kiss so great too is, aside from them being so heavy, they were like superheroes. My parents, they had a great record collection, right? They had Led Zeppelin, they had Jimi Hendrix, they had a lot of stuff like that. But you know what? You don't really want to follow in your parents' footsteps sometimes. So, there's a lot of stuff that I took from them. The Rolling Stones, for example. I really love some Stones. But I always looked for stuff that was more for me. My parents didn't have Kiss records. I had Kiss records, and that separated things a little bit. And I don't know, maybe that's just that rebel in me for whatever reason. But, I was always looking for something like that. And Kiss were like superheroes. I love comic books. So come on, you got heavy metal, and you got these guys with a superhero persona. And let's face it, man, they really were the first black metal band with that makeup, weren't they? You know what I mean? I mean, the guys kind of like bit off that a little bit. Now let's talk about the first Kiss. 7 songs on that are on a live one. And I adore that album. I know it's not as heavy as what Kiss Alive was, but you got Strutter. And I mean, Paul's attitude, the way he sings that, he has attitude. He sounds like almost like a punk. You almost have like that New York Dolls. He really has like some bite to it. Ace Frehley just bending, holding those notes, giving a lesson in guitar that you don't have to hit 1,000 notes to be a great guitarist. It's all about the feel. I don't think anybody does it as good as Ace does. So, you know, so many times I've seen people in Guitar Player magazine, not so much nowadays. Now he gets more credit, but back in the day, Ace didn't get a lot of credit. And you know what? How many people did Ace influence? How many, you know, just the generation of players. He's phenomenal. You also had Firehouse. Firehouse, something I never really noticed before, especially with the studio album. A lot of Rolling Stones influence right there. And listening to this album, you can almost hear how they were influenced by the Stones a lot. So it was almost like the Stones, but, you know, almost on crack, before crack. It was a lot heavier. And I mean, how many of you people like to taste alcohol? Cold gin? What are you kidding? You know, great song, legendary. And honestly, I think my favorite Kiss song of all time, 100,000 Years. I mean, that song, once again, Ace bends those notes. I mean, he holds it for what, like 16 measures, and he just doesn't stop. He never lets off. Great song. You have Peter's little drum solo in there, and just the lyrics. I love what he's saying there. You know, you mind if I sit down for a while? So good. I would rate this one just a little bit higher. I love both albums, but for me, and I'm sorry, Ove, because I know how much you love Hotter Than Hell, but there's really no battle because, I mean, they're just both beasts. So for me, I'm going to go with the first Kiss.
Cool. We got a vote from Steve Levin. 2 votes for the first album now. It's closing in. I don't know.
I didn't slam anybody this time.
But, we didn't give you a chance to slam anything. No. It was the same band, and you liked the band, so
it was all positive tonight.
All right, I don't know. Positive doesn't give us ratings. I think Pete Pardo knows that.
No.
He had a wild time in his last episode over on his channel. Pretty interesting with a lot of views. Congratulations on that.
Nice.
So now we're going to go from Mr. Levin to Mr. Thomas Capobianca, the great drummer from Into the Void, who just played with us. And what a great night you guys had in Middletown. And I'm glad you wanted to come back on the show again, and it's an honor to have you back. So let's hear your point of view. Then we'll go over to round us out with Count, Kristian, and me, and we'll wrap this one up.
Cool, man. I'm going to be short and sweet here. Both albums, great songs on both records, no doubt. I think the debut album is my choice.
Okay.
By maybe like 1 or 2 songs. Like Steve, my man Steve, that loves only the first 2 Iron Maiden albums, just like me. He hit it, man.
Levin, by the way.
100,000 Years, killer, man. Just a killer song, live and on the studio record. I'm Black Diamond. I'm a sucker for any song that Peter Criss sings. It seems like they gave him some of the greatest shit to sing. You know, that like it's just point proof. And anytime the guy gets on the mic, it's like, oh man, I'm not talking like maybe so much for Beth, but I'm talking the rocking songs that he sang. Strutter, Nothing to Lose, Firehouse, Cold Gin, Deuce. Like I said, 100,000 Years and Black Diamond. Tough line up there to beat, man. You know, I mean, again, nothing wrong with Hotter Than Hell. Got to Choose, Going Blind. I think a great, like a little bit of a different direction for them, that song, but still, nonetheless, a great song. The title track, Let Me Go Rock and Roll, Parasite, and Watching You, all phenomenal songs. But we got to go with the first album, Edges Out, Hotter Than Hell for me, by just a hair, man, by just a hair.
Well, we got a roll going for the first album. Can it make it? It's making a 4th quarter comeback so far here. Let's see what's going on. So
I gotta go with the two New York guys on this one.
Well,
Because Kiss was from New York, so I got to go with the New Yorkers, man.
well, we got 2 more New Yorkers to go, and we
go,
got
Tommy.
one Connecticut guy coming on. So, in
All
fact,
right.
I'm gonna hop in right now, and I'm gonna give my picks. And my second pick is Hotter Than Hell. It's my number 2. Everyone's mentioned everything about it already. Parasite, Coming Home, Strange Ways. We've all mentioned the guitar solo. I just could not go against the first album because it has, I know that the live stuff sounds better and it's heavier, but I don't go against 100,000 Years and Black Diamond and Strutter. And it's
Deuce.
just like someone like, yeah, Deuce, Cold Gin. It's like the greatest hits album, kind of. But Firehouse, yeah. And you're gonna have I imagine you're gonna have a fireman's hat on April 20th, I hope.
I have the authentic fireman's hat.
So anyhow, I'm gonna give a vote for the first album, and that is going to bring the count to 6-4 on this. And as it's closing in, it was up, I think, 6-0 at one time. So we're having it's like the 49ers last week. They're coming back on the Lions. Let's see what happens. But talking some football. So next, and certainly not least, we got our local metal historian here, another New Yorker, Count Ralphus, and we'll see what he has to say.
Nice boots.
First off,
you.
I
It's for all the people who say they love Alive.
Cool.
I apologize, brother. Go. Sorry about that.
great, man. Fucking nice boots. I just wanted to say really quick to Tom, what an amazing night last weekend. My wife bought the shirt, and
Oh, wow.
I got the hat here that you're wearing, and we never buy merch from a tribute band. I think my wife bought an Iron Maiden's, the women Iron Maiden shirt, but that's about it. We never bought merch, but you guys were just fucking amazing. Great job.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that.
So I just want to, I'm going to be quick too. Yeah, this was really hard. Both of these albums are amazing to me. I had these since I was a little kid. I'm going to have to say Hotter Than Hell is my number 2. And you guys all mentioned all the songs. You know, I love Parasite. I love Going Blind, Strange Ways, all that shit's great. And but I got to go my number 1. The first one, and I had two vinyls in there for some reason, but both of them had Kissing Time on there, but I had the 2 different labels. I got it on CD. I got the CD for Hotter Than Hell too. But the thing that puts it over the top for me, well, the first I want to just talk about one song is Deuce. I heard Amber Heard was a huge fan of this song, but she like misinterpreted the song. And you know, her man was working hard on a movie, and when he got home, she left the Deuce for him on the bed, and everybody freaked out. And then she realized that that's not what the song was about. All right, there's the joke out of the way. The other thing that put it over the top for me is it's like as if Neil Peart, Geezer Butler, and Steve Harris, and maybe Shakespeare all sat in a room and said, "Let's write a song of lyrics for this band Kiss," and that song is Kissing Time. I'm gonna be a contrarian. That's the greatest fucking Kiss song of all time. Greatest lyrics. I don't care what Karen says. They're not silly lyrics. They're the best lyrics ever. Kissing Time puts it over the top for me, and the first album is my favorite.
All right.
Wow. Kissing Time is a cover anyway, isn't it?
Oh, then forget it. Wipe that out.
So you change it to 100,000 Years is the best Kiss song ever.
But that is a cool song, you know, Kissing Time, in that, you know, 3 out of the 4 guys, you know, sing that one. And I don't
I've always liked it.
I don't think there are any other.
Hell up, Chris. Craig, I was only kidding, man.
Oh, I know.
Don't go giving that any praise. That song's fucking horrible.
Wow.
Ralph is the bad guy tonight. I love it.
He's playing your role, or Chris Allen's on
Yeah.
another.
Get him, Ralph.
So, but your number 1 pick is the first album, right? Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So
Craig, go do the dishes. Craig, go do the dishes.
You're not going to let me be your Sunday driver?
So anyhow, that has evened things almost up. It is 6-5.
All right.
And we're going to Connecticut to see if this thing's going to go into overtime. And I do have a vote from John McAtee, which could be a tiebreaker.
All
All
right.
right. Well, so initially, when everyone started going, they were giving their pick first, which one they like better. I was going to do the same, but now that we're almost even, I think I'm going to wait to the end to try to build a little bit of suspense.
Well, it is the
I don't
end.
know. Maybe it'll be a tie. Maybe Hotter Than Hell takes it. We'll find out in a couple of minutes, I guess. But yeah, so with me, Kiss, obviously, I mean, I was born 1980 after they were, after they had been around for a while. So I really didn't start listening to them or really discover them until some point in the 90s. And a friend of mine, he bought the CD, the Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits, the best of one.
Yeah.
And I recorded a few of the songs on that on a cassette tape, but not all of them. But for many, many years, I always knew, I knew most of or a good portion of the songs off these records. But to be honest, I didn't really take the deep dive with Kiss until probably a few years ago, where I finally decided, all right, I'm going to start getting these albums and see what it's really all about. And, much to my surprise, I find that with these albums, a lot of those deeper cut songs I really like a lot. Neither one of these albums is my favorite Kiss album. I think my favorite Kiss record is going to be Creatures of the Night, but both of these rank very high. So anyway, I'll just go over the debut there first. So I think it's it's a great record. You have you have Strutter, which is just an awesome, catchy opening song. I like Nothing to Lose, where you have like the trading and a lot of the songs on, I think, both these records, where they, at this point, when they're trading back and forth between vocals, like Nothing to Lose between Peter and Gene. Peter and Gene. Cold Gin, a song that Ace wrote, and I think like the other record too, it seemed, even though he wasn't like the most prolific songwriter in Kiss, I think the songs that he wrote were some of the best songs, probably some of my favorite songs. But Cold Gin, I love that little guitar solo in the middle. It's just like, it's so like stupidly simple, but it's so catchy. And it's just, the first time hearing it, I was just like completely transfixed by it. It was awesome. Kissin' Time. You know what? I'm going to give that song some love too. I love the riff, the dun, dun, dun. And just out of a curiosity, earlier today, I listened to the original Bobby Rydell version of that song.
Okay.
And it's, it's like this doo-wop kind of like 50s swing. It's like, they were kissing in Cleveland. And then you hear this, like, wow, Kiss really did make it their own song. So when you hear, I mean, you recognize the song, but Kiss definitely, kissed it up, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's also great having the three different singers there taking turns. 100,000 Years, another great one. Deuce, I mean, another killer song. And out of curiosity, I looked up what Deuce meant on the Urban Dictionary. So I don't know if you want me to share it or not.
I don't know if we don't get demonetized, I'll be okay with it.
You want me to try to do it in a way that doesn't get you demonetized?
Yes, please.
So a deuce, according to Urban Dictionary, is intercourse plus oral sex, or it's using two fingers, according to the Urban Dictionary.
All right.
I always knew the song had a sexual connotation, but I never had in my life.
I like it even better now.
Yeah,
you didn't know.
Now everyone knows. But yeah, and of course Black Diamond. I love Peter Criss's vocals on that, and I love the ending that kind of just dirges. Goes, it's just such a strange ending to the song.
Goes on forever, it seems like.
Yeah, it does. It's like, it's like 2 minutes just like fading out.
It's like into the abyss, Yeah.
But it's cool. I like it. It's just, they, Kiss, I think they they found that perfect mix between like, the good catchy, just like straight up rock and roll, kind of sleazy, kind of weird. They just kind of, they found that fine line between all those, and they hit all points just really well. But next, I don't have a physical copy of that one, but I do have a physical copy of this one. I have Hotter Than Hell, an EP. I mean, another great one, Got to Choose, great song. Parasite is one of my favorites, another Ace song. Going Blind, like everyone was saying before, just a creepy kind of a song, but I don't know, but just really great. Watching You, another one I really like, and of course, Strange Ways, another great Ace song, and with Peter singing, and yeah, like a few of the guys were saying already, killer guitar solo. I also thought the album cover too. I just thought, like people saying, they're showing like, oh, there's chicks on here. There's and just like the Japanese type of artwork too. It's definitely a more I think it's a better album cover than the first one.
The outtake photos that have come out from that photo shoot, they look like they were having one big party.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at it, you can kind of tell. But
so you're keeping us on the edge of our seats how you're going at this now.
So yeah, I mean, with this one, yeah, like everyone else is saying, the production is kind of murky, and I think it, when bands progress, usually the production kind of gets better with each record. But I think, the production here, it sounds a little bit murkier compared to even the first one, I think, but I don't think that detracts from it at all. So, all right, I guess I got to give my pick which one I like better.
You have to.
I'm going with Hotter Than Hell. It's
okay.
For me, it's a little bit more sinister than the first one, but they're both like neck and neck up there. But I got to give the slight edge to Hotter Than Hell. So,
well, Hotter Than Hell takes a lead of 7-5, and I do have John McAtee's pick. So, of course, regular on the channel, of course, from Incantation, and he picked Hotter Than Hell also. So it was a close battle tonight, anyhow. And I'm going to show off my Kiss Gold ticket that I got when I went to the Garden and saw the final show. If we can believe that. Who knows? No, not too many rock bands have final shows unless someone dies. So, but let's see if Kiss holds us to the word. They're coming back as avatars, and want to let everyone know that's watching this in the Hudson Valley area. This is going to go up on Thursday. It's Count Ralphus's birthday bash this Saturday night here in Middletown, New York. So if you want to come out and say hello to Count Ralphus, it's also Frank that works at Rock Fantasy, Frank Greco's birthday. And we have a great concert coming up this weekend. We have Witches Dance, the Long Island female-fronted Merciful Fate King Diamond tribute, making their debut here in this area. We have Jotunheim, which is a black metal band from New York City, which will be the headliner. And opening up the night is Skulovich. They're speed metal from Philadelphia. And we have the other debut of Another Demon in town. So it's going to be a night of festive heavy metal. We're calling it a dangerous metal meeting at Quinn's Pins in Middletown. And we hope to see all of you out there. Also, for the viewers watching this tonight, please mention your favorite album between the two Kiss records, and take a moment to hit subscribe if you like what we're doing on the channel, between some concert clips that I take and some of the interviews. And I'd like to thank everyone that was on the show tonight. Robert Tuttle, of course, first timer. We got Ove, who was on almost every week. We got Kristian. We've got Tony Dio, of course, the great Peter Pardo. Check out his channel if you haven't known. Most of you already were on his channel and hopped over to me, but check out the Sea of Tranquility. They do Hudson Valley Squares, which is a great show that I'm a part of sometimes on every other Monday night. And of course, Count Ralphus is a regular there. Thanks to Steve Levin, Craig Kaminski for hopping over, and of course, Tom Capabianca from Into the Void. And Luke, we're going to round this one out with one final story from you. And you were also, you told me you played guitar in a band called Frenchie, and I remember that name from a long time ago.
Yeah, Frenchie.
I remember Frenchie.
Yep.
Back in the day. So do you have
A lot
any
of fun.
other Kiss related story you'd like to tell us to wrap this episode up?
Sure. Before the great Bill Aucoin passed away, he started to manage my band. We actually have about 15 videos of Bill coaching us. We sort of looked like a Motley Crue type of band, the way we were dressed at that time, and then
what
we had
band
lost
was
Bill.
that?
But
What was that band's name?
that band was called Star with 2 R's. If you go on, we did a show on Fox TV. An episode was called Vampires, Vampires, that we did on Fox on Channel 5.
Okay.
And we did a bunch of other stuff, and it was pretty cool for what it was at the time. There was a lot of computer graphics done with it and different stuff. But Bill was, working with us. And for anybody, there's a place in Florida, in Miami called La Tub. It's a restaurant, and when Bill passed away, he used to sit on the water. We would go and have hamburgers there, and it's great for burgers. He would sit on the water there, and when we lost Bill, they actually put a bronze plaque built into where Bill sat and put his name there in honor of Bill Aucoin, and nobody could sit there anymore. Place called The Tub in Florida.
Okay.
But he was, we went on a party boat that Bill had when we were down in Florida, and we went out. I won't forget this because I got so deathly ill. I got seasick. We went out on this yacht with Bill and a bunch of people, my brother. There was a whole bunch of us. And I just remember getting sick, and I went to sleep on the boat. So when we got back, Bill had a place right near the Colony in South Beach. And I woke up over there, and of course everybody's partying and drinking, and that's about all I'm going to say about that. But we had a good time. Rest in peace, Bill. Bill was a kind-hearted soul, a really good person. He was telling us a lot of stories about him and Paul Stanley and Kiss, and him and Billy Idol, because he was managing Billy Idol too when Billy came out, with all his hits. So that was pretty good. But I mean, there's more to come. I just want to say thank you to all the guys that are on today, giving their take on the 2 albums. Is quite interesting, because at the end of it all, we all like the 2 albums, period. We just happen to have choices of one we maybe favor for whatever reason a little bit more, but we like them all. I mean, everything the guys said about Hotter Than Hell, I agreed with them. I was like, yeah, Strange Ways, Watching You, all these great stuff. Peter Chris. I mean, listen, to me, there's no losers in this. We love both albums, and it's funny. One of the gentlemen said, just like with Iron Maiden, they like the first 2 albums, which, if I'm not mistaken, that was with Paul Di'Anno, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's the Iron Maiden that I liked with Di'Anno. But I always kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to insult anybody or make me feel good. But
you can
I was
speak
like,
your mind.
to me, yeah, but I liked them with Di'Anno. That's for sure. But the one, and playing with Lady Evil and we played with my good friends Into the Void. Great band, both bands great. It was a pleasure to share the field of battle with you guys, man.
Cool.
Always.
Well, I hope we'll have you back on the channel very soon to talk about music or your band or whatever else going forward.
Well, I just want to say one thing. Tommy did blow my mind, because he got off stage and he goes, "My drums on."
Hey, we lost you, Luke. You muted yourself there. Sorry.
Like a man is possessed.
Luke, say it again. Your mic went off. Say it again.
You hit those drums like a man possessed. That Bill Ward would be honored to hear how you mimic him, dude, because it's just it was, dude. I'm a big Sabbath is in my top 5 bands of all time.
Me too.
And I got to tell you, you guys really do Sabbath justice, and I enjoyed myself. I mean, fuck, I traveled all the way up to Middletown. You know damn well I was going to enjoy it.
It's a good party when you come up there, brother.
And I'll shout out to my friends, and a shout out to my friends from Lady Evil as well too, because I enjoyed what they were doing as well. So
Cool,
you
cool.
know,
Right back at you.
it was a pleasure to meet all you guys. Steve, thanks for having me.
And we'll
Yep.
see you again soon. And we'll see you next week on the Rock Fantasy Files channel. And rock on.
Rock
on, gentlemen.